Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a great weekend. The weekend before the famous eclipse coming. I hope everybody's prepared, stocked up on gas and fuel, have your glasses. I'm doing a bonus mini episode to talk all things reality TV, reality gossip. Gonna get a little salty. Brianna doesn't listen or watch any of the reality TV stuff, so we don't talk about it much on the regular pod. So I'm here to shoot the salt on Salty Sunshine podcast. Just Lisa here. So I think we're gonna start with, well, first let's talk about the eclipse tomorrow and how we had an earthquake in New York, New Jersey on Friday. I believe it was Friday. So that was wild. Um, it's funny because Melissa Gorga from Real Housewives of New Jersey, she was working out. She said she was working out in the gym in her basement, and when the house started shaking, she thought she was getting robbed and called 911. That's kind of funny. I didn't see anybody else reacting that way. Some people thought some trees were falling outside or some construction was happening, but I mean, I think New York never really gets earthquakes, or they haven't for a very, very long time. So it was pretty shocking. And it did fall on April 8th. I'm sorry, it was a 4.8 magnitude. And then the eclipse falls on 4/8, April 8th. So that was interesting and eerie. But, hopefully we don't get any more of those. Then they had a smaller tremor, like at 4 o'clock or something, of a 4.0. So thank God it stopped there. Nothing else has happened since then. But that was kind of interesting. And so yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow with the eclipse. I'm in Miami, so I only get partial, but it'll be interesting to see what people post about, how it looks. Um, oh, and Brianna's in Austin, so it's going right over her. So I'm sure she'll get some footage or something. So Summer House, I'm caught up. I have so many thoughts. Um, First, I wish they would put like a drinking limit, at least on like the people that overdrink, like Kyle, for instance. It gets a little annoying, and it's like feels very silly to be watching him behave the way he does at his age. But other than that, it's pretty entertaining. Paige and Craig, hottest couple ever. Love them both. They are giving confused vibes as far as like for the viewers and people like watching them. They look so happy, but at the same time, it's like we don't know if they're gonna make it. You're like, like there's nothing wrong. Well, they have only been dating, I think, like 2 years, so it hasn't even been that long. So the pressure of, making commitments is probably silly too. But at the same time, like it does feel like she just doesn't want to, even talk about stuff like that. She's just like, they just want to be together, and that's okay. But I think after another year, that's not going to fly anymore because they're not 20. So at that age, long distance I think is fine. To be honest, it works great for me because I love my alone time. So I'll be like, bye, see you when I see you. Like I don't have a problem with that, but I just think it's more like the commitment part. You want to be planning for the future. You don't want to feel like you're in limbo. But they'll probably make it. They're super into each other, super cute. They look so hot with the race car driver day and their attire and everything. Kyle pushing West when he was doing the bicycle stuff, that really annoyed me. Again, with the antics, like it's so unnecessary, and like it broke skin on his nose, like, and then he blamed it on him. He shouldn't be wearing glasses. Like, no, you shouldn't be pushing somebody when they're driving a. Oh my gosh, I can't with him. Speaking of Kyle and Amanda, they're not getting along whatsoever. I would argue that they're worse off than Lindsay and Carl during filming. Like, my God, she like literally can't stand him. She was on Watch What Happens Live and saying that like they work together, they live together, they do this together. So it's like everything he did. She was just going through a time that he annoyed the crap out of her. But I feel like he's always annoyed the crap out of her. Like maybe it's magnified here, but I feel like I don't think, he's ever not annoyed her because he annoys the audience, like the viewers. Nobody wants to watch a 40-year-old man, a guy of any age. Nobody wants to watch drink that much and act that fraternity all the time, fraternity brother style. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the solution is. Like, and then they're talking about like buying a house in the suburbs, and he just keeps like acting like she's not ready for kids when he's the one that's not ready for like marriage. Forget the kids. Like, your kids are a different relationship. Like, it's once they're here, you get it going, you do what you got to do. Like, that's not the issue. The issue is him and needing this social life and having to drink so much and, you know, like feeling so disconnected if he's not with like the party peeps. I think that's a huge problem. I hope it's like for TV and not for real in real life, because that's not going to be great for her. And then him asking, um, and then Carl asking Kyle to be a flower boy when he was like a groomsman or whatever he was at his wedding. That's the most embarrassing. I mean, Kyle is actually being a really good sport about it, because I think anybody else would be like, I don't think so. Like, have fun. Like Paige said in her confessional, it's like, what are you doing? Like, that's so embarrassing, uncalled for. You're up there with the groomsmen. Like, just be a groomsman. Like, why do you have to label him a flower boy? Like, it's like a demotion. It's very, very embarrassing. I would say no, but he's taking it like a champ, but he didn't have to do it anyways because they never got married. Um, and then Paige saying that Lindsay or Amanda also thought Lindsay's behind that, which Carl kind of confessed that she is. Like, she's upset with the way Kyle has been talking about the relationship and how he wasn't very supportive, which he wasn't. And he was kind of like, he screamed at Lindsay and stuff. But I mean, then either you're gonna have him at the wedding, have him be a groomsman, and like have a talk about like how you feel and like get over it, or don't have him in the wedding. Like, don't make him a flower boy. That's like crazy. So talking about Carl and Lindsay, obviously they didn't make it. They're not together anymore. Um, yeah, she emasculates him, and that's never good. And men could be idiots and jerks and stuff, but there is, just like you can't tell a woman she's fat, or there's certain things you can't do, or you can, but they're gonna have a long lasting negative effect. And like, emasculating a man is gonna do that. With that said, I do think Carl's kind of he doesn't have motivation, and he's not like a go-getter, or at least like it seems like that. He's not very, and Lindsay is. So she's kind of fed up with him, like not knowing where, being wishy-washy. Where are you going to work? What are you going to do? Like, coming up with stupid ideas, and she's like over it, which I get. But there's a way to go about it and talk to him that it doesn't feel like you're talking down to him, and that's what she does. And like the remarks, and I think Amanda does it to Kyle as well. Like the way she talks to him in public, it's you can't talk to your significant other as if they're a child, and that takes practice, because sometimes it's hard because they act so stupid sometimes. But you shouldn't make that a habit, because the respect breaks down, and that's not good. It goes nowhere. So last but not least, West and Sierra are so cute. I think Sierra has had like a lot of bad luck with guys, and she doesn't have a great picker. And I don't know if they're still together now, but I hope they are, because West is a gem. He's so sweet and down to earth and respectful and cool at the same time, and funny, and I like that they're taking it slow. I mean, there's nothing worse than people just hooking up. It's so gross, and then they wonder why it all fell apart. It's good that they're taking their time, because that's like a good foundation. So I'm really rooting for them. I think they're really cute, and I'm eager to see if they're still together today. Okay, let's do Vanderpump Rules. First of all, this sandwich shop, something about her. They keep going in circles and like beating around the bush. What is going on with that sandwich shop? Like, just why don't they just relocate? Like, they're wasting their time. I know that the lady, there was allegedly somebody that was helping them with the recipes or sandwich names, like kind of like took like stole their, she kind of trademarked something. But whatever, come up with something else and move to another location. It's kind of silly at this point to even like keep it going. Then Katie hooks up with with Schwartz's best friend. Let me tell you who's getting on my last nerve on Vanderpump. Brock. What is with Brock and like inserting himself and being completely inappropriate and just going back to Summer House, just the way that Kyle brought up Jesse flirting with Paige. That was so awkward and weird, and I don't know what he thought was going to come out of that. But I hate when people do such blatant reality show stunts. It's like no one wants to watch that. Craig handled it delicious. Like that was such a good. Like, she is hot. He should like want to date her. Like I loved it, loved it, loved it. Guys, pay attention. That's what you do, and you keep it classy and act unbothered. So then on Vanderpump Rules, Katie hooks up with Schwartz's best friend. Brock outs her, which I don't understand, but I don't know. I don't. It's kind of gross, especially since she's not really into him. It was like a one night thing, it seems. And then Schwartz also handled it pretty well, like making light of it and wanting to move on. The last thing he wants to do is rile Katie up. Like two words to her and like she's on fire already, turning into mean tequila Katie or whatever they call her. He's so over it. Like he just doesn't want to go there. He just wants to like have fun and like have a beer. And then, okay, so everyone's talking about Ariana Madix and how, she thinks her shit doesn't stink and she thinks she's like Tony Montana of the cheated ones, which I agree with. But at the same time, I get her anger. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, you're taking it too far. Like, I mean, it's not a crime. People are allowed to cheat on people. And yes, you blow up and you have that big fight when you find out. But like, then you kind of like simmer down and like avoid them at all costs. But like when you do direct your word to them, like not respectfully, but like not verbally abusive either. Like, like he didn't like kill your parents. Like, it's bizarre to me how, first of all, their relationship was going down the drain to begin with. It's not like everything was amazing. They haven't been intimate in years, apparently, like a handful of times. And it was gonna end, it was going towards that direction anyways. So he actually did her a favor by ending it the way he did and causing such a disgrace because it brought her all these amazing financial opportunities that have literally changed her life. So she could have had that, or he would have left her anyways, probably cheated on her anyways with someone else, and she wouldn't have had this windfall of opportunity. So either way they were going to end, that was a given because they were already like on that path. So out of the two, I think she got the better hand as far as like the inevitable. But as far as her talking to Tom, like she doesn't have to deal with him, but she doesn't have to berate him either. Like it's just the abuse doesn't match the crime. Like he cheated on her, which is what was disgusting is not only the cheating, like who he did it with and the lying and like being able to look at her in the face while he's doing it, which was disgusting. That was worse than the cheating. But it's like he's not for you. That's not your guy. Like just be disgusted, deal with him as well as possible, but like be the not the bigger person, but for yourself. Like handle yourself in a way that you could be proud of. Like I don't know. It's uncomfortable to watch. I don't enjoy it. Like I had to like speed through, fast forward because when it's uncomfortable. It feels very verbally abusive. Um so I don't like watching that, but what happened with her dog? Apparently the air conditioning people came and he had to put the dog away because they were checking something, blah, blah, blah. So he put the dog in her room. If he would have went in her room to check to see if the room was safe, she would have flipped because he's snooping in her room. Then maybe he should have put the dog in the bathroom because it's a smaller space and there's not much to get into. He didn't think, but he obviously didn't want to hurt the dog. So with that said, it's like, again, it was too much, the verbal abuse for that. Like it wasn't intention matters. So it's like he probably should have put the dog in another space, not her room. But maybe she would have been mad at that too. Like I don't know. But and then his assistant, Anne, Sandoval's assistant, which was this like for TV? Like no one's actually going to do that in real life. She works for Tom Sandoval. She shows up, tells Ariana she wants to work for her, which is weird. and then shows up in a suit to talk to Ariana about working for her while Tom is there in his house. Like, that was weird. I don't understand. And apparently now, Ariana never hired her because of the conflict of interest or whatever. But then Anne apparently signed an NDA and something went down between her and Tom. And so Tom is now sending her letters from his attorney, reminding her of the NDA. And she started a podcast called I Sign an NDA. I don't know if it already started. There aren't any episodes. And I don't know what she's going to talk about. If she signed an NDA, what can she talk about? I'm not sure. But that's a very odd situation, the whole thing. And then Lala. Lala's always been, I've never enjoyed her because I feel like she's a bully. I feel like she's one of those people that talks mad crap and like she can dish it, but she can't take it. And she's completely not rational. She doesn't see things for what they are. And she's completely hypocritical to the point. I mean, they all are to a point, but she's like so beyond when she tells people like to stop and like she's, this gangster's going to come out of her. It's like, you stop. Like, you sound ridiculous. She's very controlling, trying to control everything. And then everything's now about her. So if she got cheated on, this one's the same. Like, everything is like equating to her, which is a very, I don't know if it's narcissistic way of looking at things, but it's like, it's not about you. And so she's pretty annoying. And her and Ariana never really got along that great. So I guess that kind of bubbling up and resurfacing through all this mess. But yeah, that's Vanderpump Rules. And then Sheena and Brock. Brock is annoying them my last nerve. And then Sheena with not wanting to have a babysitter. It's like, I don't really care. So that's that on Vanderpump. Oh, and Vanderpump, Ariana got the job of Love is what is it? Love Island? Love Island host. So that's a great job. I would love that job. So she must be happy about that. She bought a house, so finally she'll be out of the other house, which should have happened a long time ago. But yeah, I don't think Vanderpump is gonna. I mean, if it keeps going, I don't know. They're gonna have to change a cast. Like, I don't want to watch this stuff. It's like, okay, it's enough already. The Valley. Oh my gosh, I'm hooked on the show, and I think it's because all these people are not reality stars and they're actually like being themselves, how most people are when they start a show. And it's so juicy. Like, wow. That guy Jesse, he's definitely like he's teetering like abusive. Like, he has a horrible temper. He's has no empathy. Like, he's kind of a dick. Not kind of, he's a complete dick. And yeah, it's very, again, him, his wife, and the little kid, it's like, it's all wrong. And apparently they're not together now, getting divorced in real life, in real time, which is not shocking. But him at that table when in banging on the table, telling everyone to shut the hell up and all that, it's like, oh. I love though, my favorite couple on the Valley is Daniel and Nia. They're so cute. They're a real couple. They're respectful. And then I also like um, Jason and Janet. And then Kristen and Luke. Kristen is a hot mess. Like, she's exactly how she used to be, but I actually like Luke for her because he seems, down to earth. He respects her. Like, he lets her be herself. It seems. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but till now it seems like that. So I like him for her. Jax, what a mess. Jax and Brittany, I can't. I mean, they're supposedly separated, but like at some point it's like, Brittany, what are you doing? Like, he's a hot, hot mess. Um, I was watching Watch What Happens Live. Every time they play tic-tac-toe, there's been so many guests that they don't know how to play tic-tac-toe. He's like, we're playing tic-tac-toe. Like, why are you picking the square? They're like, and he'll say it and they'll still like pick the wrong one. It's like, it's hilarious. It makes me laugh every time that happens. Um, all right. I tried watching Vanderpump Villa or whatever it's called on Hulu. I couldn't get through the first episode. It was not great. I did not enjoy that. Um, I don't know, maybe it gets better, but it was pretty boring. I turned it off. So, oh my God, Seeking Sister Wives. If you guys don't watch this show, it's not the old antiquated, Sister Wife one on TLC. It's like a modern day version. They've had a few seasons and it's so fascinating to watch. it's actually pretty depressing because it's so messed up. But at the same time, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe people actually like live like this. But the main couple, the golden couple, the couple that everyone tunes in to watch are the Merrifields. And the Merrifields are this couple, Garrick and Danielle. And this woman, Danielle, when I tell you, she so this show is about seeking a sister wife, which means there's a couple, polygamy. There's a couple, they want to bring in one woman or multiple women to be the wives. Of course, because a man would never have a wife with multiple husbands, but we won't get into that, how ridiculous this is. But so sister wives, they're a couple, they already have either a third or fourth wife, and then they're seeking multiple, or it's just a couple and they're seeking a third to start off or whatever. So it's so juicy when I tell you the Merrifields, this woman, Danielle, they're married. They have two little boys or two or three boys. And she's a hot mess. She's not into this situation. She's completely wrapped around this guy, Garrett's finger, and he is creepy. Like, I do not like him whatsoever. Basically he's like, I had a vision, God sent me a vision, I'm gonna have 5 wives. It's one of those kind of people that you're like, oh God, no way, like run from him. Like they use God as a reason to do sick shit. So Danielle is like super insecure, she's super like soft spoken, like she doesn't stand up for herself. And so he I don't know, his obsession is with Brazilian women, but last season he went after a Brazilian girl to be the sister wife, the second wife. So he convinced his wife Danielle that they had to get divorced. So when he was with the Brazilian, he can marry the Brazilian so he can bring her to the US and legalize her. And Danielle was crying, like she agreed, and they got divorced. They're divorced now, so he could do that. And she's had such a hard time. She's been suffering. I mean, it's real suffering. You can see it through the screen. She is a hot mess. She's completely suffering. She's living in hell. She's living in hell. Her sister, her parents, everyone's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? But there's no getting through to her. Like, she's gonna do whatever the guy wants. And he doesn't respect her. You can tell, like, he just has her there to have her there. But so they meet this Brazilian girl, they meet her in Mexico or somewhere. And so the Brazilian girl, she was super jealous of her. Like she couldn't handle it. She was so jealous. Every time they were together, when they would stay overnight with each other, all this stuff, like she was a nervous wreck walking down the hallway of the hotel. I laugh because it's hilarious, but it's also the most heartbreaking thing you've ever seen. There's other couples, but I'm focusing on the Merrifields because they're the one couple that it's like, it's the most, it's the most shocking to watch what they're going through. And so, but that Brazilian woman, up to the end, they were supposed to get married and she was going to move it down to wherever they live, I think Colorado. And she backed out last minute, last season, she backed out. And they were quote unquote heartbroken. And so these sister wives, the women called each other sister, which is so creepy. They don't call each other names or any. They're like sisters. Well, sister says this, and so the Brazilian woman doesn't speak English, so they need to use the phone as a translator. And they're like, tell sister this and sister this. It's so bizarre. So she backed out. Fast forward to this current season, he's like, ready for his second wife. So he finds another Brazilian. So they go to Mexico to meet this other Brazilian. And again, Danielle feels out of place. She doesn't feel as close to her as she did with the other one, even though the other one, she was a jealous wreck. And so it's like all this stress. And like, I don't understand why two people in a relationship is so much work. It's more than enough. It overfills your plate. Like, why you want a third person, a fourth person, a fifth person, and have all these conversations and like issues is beyond me. Like, and million kids everywhere, and everyone's taking care of the kids. Like the other couples on this show, I feel are like passionless. Like I think they're just like together because they like gave up on life, and they don't really like, they're not really in love with their partner, and they just want a third party for whatever their reasons are. But it's not like this couple, Danielle and Garrick. Like she actually feels like the loser ex-wife that is just like nobody cares about and is pushed to the side. Like that's why I focus on them, because it's such a crazy thing to watch, and like you really feel her pain. But the other people on the show, they're just like, you know, it doesn't seem like anyone's really in love with each other, and like the guys are just like gross and want, and then women just like have given up. They're like, okay, well, this is the life, and I'll just deal with it and have kids and be best friends with these chicks, you know. But there is another well, a guy, this black guy with his two white wives, and they brought in a third one last season, but the third one is jealous now because he wants a fourth one. It's like, why do you want a fourth one? And he doesn't work. All the women work and he stays home with the kids. It's like the craziest thing to see. And then she leaves the house because she's like, I can't handle this. I'm so jealous. But she's the newer one. So the other girls are like, whatever, we don't care. But so that's them. There's other couples. Like I'm not really into them because it's like I said, like it just seems like they want to be in the lifestyle, but they don't really have anything invested emotionally. Um, but yeah, you should tune in and watch the Merryfields. Like it's so interesting. And then you see like for instance, there's this other couple and they've been dating this girl and the girl won't commit to them and she won't marry and come into this lifestyle with them, like she's in and out. And they're so frustrated. And it's almost like you have a relationship that supposedly is good, like between you and the person. And then you're like going after, as a unit, going after a third party and creating chaos that you don't need because your relationship's intact. So why like they're creating drama with a third party when the third party's not even part of the relationship. They just want her to be part of it. It's just, why go through all that trouble? I don't understand. But so that's a good show if you want to watch something nuts. And I think that's it as far as like reality TV. Yeah, I think that's it. I think they're filming Real Housewives of OC right now. I saw some clips, but I wish Tamara wasn't on that show. I don't enjoy them. But and New York City, the cast of the new cast is coming back for the second season. So that's fun. I like the new cast. I think they're fresh. I like their, style, and I like that they don't really go after each other and fight that much because I can't stand all the fighting, and it's like so fake. But that would be cool. I think Jersey's on its way back too. I don't know how that's gonna work when Melissa and Teresa don't even talk, and now Teresa, in all the news, it seems like her and her husband aren't doing really well, and he's in all this legal stuff and like has a lot of money issues, allegedly, are the rumors. So it's just a hot mess. Like I don't enjoy stuff like that. I keep up with it because I've been watching this like since it started. So I just, it's like a routine. I don't really even, I just kind of keep up. I just want to know like the cliff notes of what's happening. I don't even really want to even watch the whole show. But yeah. All right, that's it. Short and sweet. We'll see you this week for the regular pod and enjoy the rest of your weekend. See ya.